this is going to be part 7. I am hoping, because I hate this level, that the allergy medicine makes me forget I ever did it. That'd be a real treat. What's this fucker doing in there? I don't care. Alright, let's find that lever. Which is somewhere. Probably. Where's the friggin' ladder? This guy says, well, Rico says, don't let anyone else in here, and that battler, I guess, said okay. Faye says, where is this place? Rico says, let's look for it. We'll talk more if we really find it. Faye says, do you really doubt me? Satan says, be quiet. Rico says, what's wrong? Well, let us look around, says Satan. Oh boy. To learn some death blows, so that's what I'm going to be working on. I'm over level 30 for Faye. Yeah, I think he needs to be 30. I don't know, whatever. We'll just level up and stuff for a little bit. Faye says here, Rico says, well, this is the murder spot. Faye says, what's that slimy stuff? Rico says, no way, it's human. Satan says, look here. Rico says, more of the same. Faye says, something the monster left? Satan says, still, we can't be sure, but it is very likely. Satan's just learning all kinds of stuff. I guess I can go down that way if I need to. That's not very nice. Oh boy. Select button opens map, huh? Well, that's nice. I remember this place being super annoying, so sure I'll need that. Looks like you got it here, says Rico. Faye says here too. Rico says, hey, this is the same as that stuff over there. Citan says, something is written on the wall. Red monster. This must be his dying message. Rico says, must have written it as he was dying. Wow, no shit, Rico. Citan says, very interesting. Rico says, something's down here, that's for sure. Those monsters are annoying. They like drop you to 1 HP and then run away. Well, that is locked on the other side, apparently. Okie dokie. This map is utterly useless. Wow, look at all these lights. Alright, I think I need to go down there. What's wrong, Citan? Is there something there? Said Rico. Citan says, a tinkle sound. I heard some kind of a tinkle sound. Faye says, a bell? Rico, a bell, a bell. Faye says, do you know something? Rico says, now that you mention it, there is a rumor of a strange ringing sound down here. Let's see where we are. I can't attack. That's obnoxious. Faye says, what's this? Rico says this is a rat sweeper machine. He says we call them the catless rat removers. Rico says it's not broken, why isn't it moving? Faye says there's something inside. What's this? Received keys. Rico says these were Varga's pass keys to the sewer. They must have gotten caught up in this thing, that's why it wasn't moving. Faye says, I wonder what these keys are for. Rico says these are the keys to the sewage treatment plant. Citan says, sewage treatment plant? Rico says that's where all the sewage ends up. Wow. Citan says, that is strange. Where is it? Rico says, from here it's northeast through the door and near the furthest waterfall. Faye says, let's go see. I think that would be like something, but I guess not. What are you doing? Shoot, the key's not here. We can't open my door. Out of my way, let me try. Huh? How'd it go? Idiots, it pulls open. Geez, what are you pushing it for? Well, at least that's done. I don't think I've seen everything there is to see down here yet, though. I'm just getting killed in this place. Whatever that is. Just try and get over there. Last time I saved. Gramps, what are you doing here? I thought the entrance was blocked off. Gramps says he's lived here a long time. Rico says, all by yourself in a spooky place like this? Gramps says, as you can see, I'm a mutant, so the monster never bothers me. Gramps says, but lately my new neighbor's been going around busting things up. Rico says, really? We're looking for him. Gramps says, would you get rid of him for me? If you need to know anything, ask me, I'll help you. Gramps says, that's the pass key for the sewers. You can get into the room beside the waterfall with it. Take care of yourselves. Okay. asshole. Titan says there is always slime near the murder scene. Looks like it only happened once. Rico says, what are you talking about? Titan says, they say it will not return to the same place. I wonder. This is wonky as fuck. Jesus Christ. Certainly running out of magic. Just gotta be shitting me with this. I missed that due to death. Let's see here. I'm up to level 38. Triangle square X for Rico. Alright. haven't figured out where those little rat guys are going. I need to get to that spot over there. No more magic points, apparently. I'm just holding up the party. That's not where I wanted to be. Oh my god. Leave me the fuck alone. I don't think I've been down here yet. Jesus Christ. Faye says here too. Oh, there's that smell again. It's like something's burning. Citan says burnt. I see. Rico says, hey, look at this. The slime is over by that drain too. Citan says it appears this slime was left behind by the monster. No. curious if there is a way to make this place any more annoying than it already is. Because they really took all the avenues to piss me off. This is... Damn, no, it must be this one. What? Rico says hurry up. Why are there so many keys, says Faye. And I guess they opened it. Faye says what? Rico says it's not here. Faye says look up. It moved. It's not here. It appears it can move outside through these drains. Damn, we should have found it here. That would be too easy though, wouldn't it? Faye says, what's this? Received bell amulet. Faye says, why would it have this? Rico says, wait, we can lure it with this thing. Citan says, it does not look like it will show up now. Rico says, where can we use it? Citan says, let us think about what we know. Which basically means you gotta use it at one of the holes where there's no slime, since it won't return back to where it was. Alrighty. Received ether veiler. I don't think I can go up any further. Oh boy. Slime in the drain. There should be several places like this. Yes. This must be the one drain it comes and goes from. That's it. We'll use the bell there. with this bell. Ring it here? That's it. There is always slime near the drains it uses, and he never returns to the same site twice. So we need a drain with slime and no murder site. Right. There's one on this floor north of here. Satan says, I'm sure this is the only drain with slime and no murder. Faye says, alright, got it. My god, I hate that. Here comes Mr. Friend. Of course it gets to attack first, even though I'm ambushing it. For the love of fuck. And that is dead. Rico says, what the hell was that? Faye says, why did it have a bell? Satan said it had a normal human-like intellect. No, it is better to say it had left remaining. Rico said, what? What do you mean? No. Satan says, it is really rather sad. Yeah, I'm sure I missed a ton of stuff in there, but I literally do not care. Goodness. Rico says, I'll see you later. I'll wait at your dorm. Faye says, hey, your left arm. In that fight, you got injured. Rico says it's nothing. Satan says, I wonder if you will forfeit the battling because of that injury. The Emperor says, has he awoken? Satan says, yes, twice. No, 3 times to be exact. May I ask you this? Why would he be moved to a place like this? Was it the elders? Emperor says, nay, they're hoping for a more immediate disposal. I don't blame them. They have a deeply etched fear of him. Citan says, then... The Emperor says, yes, probably. Citan says, it would be hasty to dispose of him now. I do not think it is too late to wait until we find out his purpose. The Emperor says, if that is your judgment, then so be it. Citan says, your will is my will, your majesty. Well then, allow me to? Emperor says, wait a minute. He says, I see. Citan says, yes? The Emperor says, their judgment has been handed down. Citan says, what is it then? A purge. The number 1 gate generator is 200 Kelt southwest of Nortune and 4,000 Charl underground. Its interference waves make guided weapon use impossible in this area, so up to the last minute the Hecht must be piloted manually. After canceling stealth mode, you will provide direct escort for the Hecht inside the enemy defense zone. Any questions? Ellie says, well... The other officer says, yes, Lieutenant? Ellie says, I understand our escort orders, but what is our main objective? This person says it's classified. Ellie says, without knowing our objective, our response to any orders will be slow. Even if we're just ordered to provide cover, we need to at least know the attack objective. The objective will be issued during the mission. It will be relayed directly to the Hecht's pilots. Ellie says, but... He interrupts her and says, your only concern is to protect the Hecht from the enemy's anti-aircraft weapons. Any problem with that? Ellie says no. If that's the case, he interrupts her again and says, anything else? Then this ends the briefing. Confirm terrain, weather, and enemy defense details with the information at hand. The mission starts at 1700. Until then, wait in your assigned units. He continues, I shouldn't have to remind you that this mission is a purge. Remember, we have complete authority over the lambs. Dismissed. Stotsky says, this sucks, Lieutenant. How can we go along with this? What's he mean the objective has nothing to do with us? Ellie says, be quiet, I'm thinking. Stotsky says, don't snap at me. Vance says, I hate hysterical women. Ellie says, are you ready to take the consequences for that remark? Vance says, Rank asks, what's wrong? Ellie says, sorry I'm so edgy. Those self-detonating bombs are just air units with Keith-class bombs on board. I don't see why they need to use them all of a sudden. There are just too many. One of those alone would have enough firepower. 8 of them is overkill. They haven't told us our target yet, and we're not just gonna drop them for fun. You bet I'm worried. Helmhall says maybe to purge the lambs? Ellie says they're human, the same as us, right? They have to give us a reason. I can't go along with this just because it's an order. Rank says, Ellie says what? Rank says nothing. Even though we are called Solarians, we are third-class citizens, or worker bees. Us third-class citizens have our origins in the lambs. I can understand us having doubts in such orders. He says, but you're different. You're a pure first-class citizen and come from a good family. I've heard your father has a lot of pull in the military. Ellie says, my family and father have nothing to do with it. Rank says, well, if you ask me, a first-class citizen thinking like this is a little unusual. Ellie says, not really, it's quite natural. Helmhall says, so, how about it? Are you gonna do it? Stotsky says, the army will demote us all back to being third-class citizens. Ellie says, don't worry, I'll just do my duty, but I'm only escorting the Hecht. I won't help with anything else. Helmhall says, what if something happens? You're just backing yourself into a corner. Ellie says, can't be helped, I guess. Rank says, well, either is fine for us. Just do what you're told. Nothing else matters. Guess it's time for my nap. Yo! I guess Rico has fled. It's not this place. Rico says, "You're late. You made me wait for ages." Faye says, "Sorry." Faye says, "The doc said he wanted to pay the courtesy of burying the monster, so I waited outside." Rico says, "Is that so? Oh well, at least the murders have been brought to an end." Satan says, "Yes, that's right, and Fee has been proven innocent as well." Rico says the out-of-bounds order on the sewers was lifted straight after that, too. "Anyway, my allying with you ends here. The next time we meet, we'll be opponents." Rico continues, "Try and beat me. I'd enjoy seeing you try to settle your scores with me." Faye says, "What about that wound to your arm? You can't try to battle in that state." Rico says, "Can you really afford to worry about your opponent?" Faye continues, Rico says, "Worry about yourself. Don't hold back. Give me your best fight." He says, "If you don't do your best, you could be the one who dies." Faye says, "Understood." Rico departs. Satan says, "Right now that matter is resolved. I've done all I can do. What is left is up to you. You must settle this other problem with your own hands." Faye says, "I guess so." Satan says, "Does his arm wound bother you that much, Faye? You realize we do not have..." Faye cuts him off and says, "I know, we don't have much time. What's more, what he says is right. You shouldn't hold back in a battle. Etiquette dictates a true fight." Satan thinks he was overly concerned and says, "Let's rest." He says, you must win up to the finals first anyway, so let's focus on that." Alrighty, I guess I can rest here, and rest we shall. Yeah, let's save. That freaking sewer. Oh my god. It's over. It's the worst part of the game, in my opinion. Alrighty, I have to fight 3 fights. What a jerk. I won $1,500K and a $400 bonus. 2 more fights. Okie dokie. Fuck you. Not a bad battle. Keep up the good work. I must have accidentally went back. won 2,500 bucks. This will be the last one for today, rather. Bitch is dead. Here's the prize money. Just over 3K. Hammer says you did it. You won. You're the battling champ, or close enough anyway. Victory's in reach. If you just win tomorrow's finals, we'll have our names cleared and be released. Faye says, Hammer, you know my opponent's no pushover. He's been battling champion for 3 years. It's not going to be an easy task. He says he's been managing to win somehow, but tomorrow's another matter. Hammer says if that's your attitude, you'll lose even if you could have won. Show some spirit. Faye laughs and said, I didn't think you'd be the type to say something like that. Faye says you're right. I'll never win with pre-battle blues. Thanks, Hammer. Let's head back and take a sleep. Hammer says, I'd like to say no problem, but tomorrow's finals league is important. Don't you think you should service and customize your gear? Faye says, leaving it to just one mechanic worries me. I'll ask the doc to give us a hand. Hammer said he's doing the best he can. Faye says, I don't mean it that way, don't get upset. Anyway, let's go back to our barracks and call the doc. Hammer says, wait, don't you think you should save your battling record in the memory cube? Faye says, I suppose I should. I think I already have all the parts I need, but... nothing to concern myself with there. Though I don't necessarily think that the gears scale up with power in this little minigame. Faye says, is that all? Hammer says, yep, this is the best that can be obtained around here. Faye says, think I can win with these crude parts? Seitan says, you've got a point. He says, compared to the champ's gear, the quality definitely doesn't match up. Hammer says, nothing we can do. Master Rico's gear is a special make provided by the committee. From maintenance to parts, it receives the best of everything. He says, as long as money's involved, the champ will go all out. That's one of the reasons he's so powerful. Faye says, can't we get better parts? There's some laughing in the distance. The mysterious voice says, as usual, you haven't learned anything. Wise Man appears and says, long time, Faye. Faye says, you're the one from the tournament. Faye says, what do you want? I'm busy. Wise Man just says, no matter how high quality your gear may be, you won't be able to defeat him. Faye says, what are you talking about? Wiseman says, you don't understand. Let me show you. I guess they're gonna fight. Faye says, why do you suddenly want to fight? Are you crazy? Wiseman says, enough talk. Take this. Faye says, whoa, you're serious. Wiseman says, of course, put up a good fight. If you don't, your life is mine. Faye says, that's the same technique as me. How come? Wiseman says, fighting brute strength with brute strength is a sign of a fool. It's obvious a lighter body such as yours will be at disadvantage in a head-on attack. He says, I just gave you a good example. That minor difference between you and I had this outcome. He says, now someone else with a mass several times as you, like Rico, the outcome becomes highly apparent. This applies to gears as well. Even if you had comparable parts, there's that difference in mass. To make up for this, one must commit to a single final strike that thrusts at the opponent's fissure. Wiseman says, I've given you the hint. It's up to you to figure it out through experience. Faye says, wait, why is it that you have the same fighting style as me? And how do you know my name? Tell me. Wiseman says, fine. He says it was 3 years ago. The one who took you in your mutilated state to that mountain village was none other than myself. Faye says, you're the one who brought me to Lahan? Wiseman says, yes, at your father's request. Faye says, my father's? What's your relation to him? Wiseman says, Khan and he were fellow students. Faye says, Khan, is that my father's name? Wiseman says, why do you ask for your father's name? You haven't lost your... Faye says, yeah, so tell me anything you can, will you? Wiseman says, I see. In your injured state, I wouldn't have been surprised. Faye says, Wiseman. Wiseman says, Khan Wong. That's your father's name. Since our youth, Khan and I studied the martial arts together. Faye says, father and you? Wiseman says, yes. Eventually your father became an officer of a certain country. There he met a young woman. She was 20 years old. Her name was Karen. She was like a flower in full bloom. Faye says, flower? Satan says, he means that she was extraordinarily beautiful. Faye says, I see, then she's... Wiseman says, yes, your mother. Khan married her. And then he and I left on a journey to strengthen myself. Faye says, then my mother, where is she now? Wiseman says, you don't remember that either, I see. According to Khan, when you were a child, she passed away. Faye says, oh. Wiseman says, time passed. During my journey, I received a letter from Khan. The letter said that his son was taken away by a man. Khan once said you had special powers. The man who wanted that power took you. That man was Graf. Faye says, Graf, he took me away? Wiseman says, you've met him? Faye says, yeah, 3 times. Wiseman says it's amazing that you're still in one piece. Faye says, it seemed to Graf that I was still not powerful enough to achieve his ultimate goal. Anyway, let me hear more about this story. Wiseman says Khan wished to go find his son, and if possible, he wanted my help. I agreed to the request and began searching for you, and that man. Then he says, then came that one fateful night 3 years ago. There was a violent storm. The storm felt as if it was thrown at us through sheer rage. That night, Khan notified me that he had located his son. So I headed for that location as if I was drawn to it. Wiseman continues that you and Khan were wounded badly. I have no idea what happened between you and Graf, but by then Graf had gone. I don't know why, but probably he was driven away by Khan. Khan decided to pursue Graf and left me to care for his son. I provided you with the necessary first aid and left you in the custody of those village people. And then I followed after Khan. Wiseman says you probably lost your memory when you were injured. Faye says, why did my father pursue Graf? Wiseman says, I don't know, just that he said it was not only for the sake of his son, but also for the sake of the world, that that man had to be disposed of. He added that if something were to happen to him, I would have to take care of the rest. I haven't seen or heard from him since. Faye says, Graf said that my father was dead. Wiseman says, if Graf has been appearing in your presence, then that is a possibility. That is truly unfortunate. Wiseman says, do you remember anything about your fighting techniques? Faye says, no, nothing. Wiseman says, your fighting skills were probably taught to you by Khan. Khan and I both studied under the same master. That is why my techniques are similar to yours. Wiseman says, well then, I must be off. Faye says, to where? Wiseman says, I will go find him. I need to pinpoint what his intentions are. And also for Khan's sake. Faye says, tell me one more thing. What country was my father an officer for? Wiseman says, are you going there? Faye says, I don't know. There are other things I have to take care of. Wiseman says, yes. The floating island which tries to hide behind a wall protected, as if to conceal their failure, that is Shivat. That is your father's country. Faye says, Shivat, the floating island? Wiseman says farewell, and disappears ominously. Faye says, hey! Satan says, what a mysterious person. Is this the second time you've met him? Faye says, yeah. Since the tournament in Ava, he sure is a mysterious person. Faye says he won't understand straight away what that man meant. Hammer says, I've only known you a while since you've arrived. What is this Ava tournament? What's going on? Faye says, I think I get the general idea. I might be able to do something in tomorrow's final round. The differences in the performance of the gear parts are not going to influence the outcome. Not as much as I thought before, anyhow. Satan says, never underestimate the situation. You might lose pretty badly if you think you can win by getting a grasp of the concept. Faye says, I know. Satan says, well, let us return to our quarters and rest, Faye. Your fate lies in the outcome of tomorrow's competition. You need to preserve your strength. And I guess they take a nap. Or something. Alrighty. I guess I just go to the place and fight the guy. Today is the last day. Let me at him. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. And that's over. Rico's henchman appears and says, "Hey, your machine has been rigged. I'm gonna tell the committee." Yeah, he's definitely had his gear equipped with parts that are in violation. Rico says, "Shut up. Don't embarrass me any further. How could such special parts exist in the Imperial capital anyway? Especially since you can't leave the capital with these collars on." Rico's henchman says, "But Rico, then..." Rico says, "I thought I told you to stop. Keep quiet." Hammer says, "That's right. It's impossible. Bro won on his own strength. Stop trying to trump up false accusations." Rico's henchman goes, bro." Faye says, "Enough already, Hammer." Faye says he won because of luck and because he had a good teacher. Also, the wound to your arm hasn't completely healed yet, has it? If it wasn't for that wound, I'm sure you would have won instead. Rico says, "Defeat is defeat. My wound is no excuse. The battling champion is you." Rico has something to see to, and he will be off for now. Rico's henchman says, "Champ, wait up. Let us go with you." Rico says, "I'm no longer the champ. You guys will just get in my way. Don't follow me." Rico's henchman says, "In your way, but champ." And Rico departs. Hammer says, "This must mean he's been acquitted." Rico says, "Steer, this is the last. Hang in there with me." Rico says, "Get him myself." Meanwhile, in Solaris, Rank says, "Hey look, check this out." Strotsky says, "There's only one control ship. The other 7 are all ether-guided. Just who the hell is controlling them all?" Someone says, "I never thought you'd be the escort commander." Ellie says, "Dominia?" Helmholtz says, "Dominia, who's that? Hey, not the one from the Elements." Dominia says, "It's been a long time, Elium. The last time was Jugend, wasn't it?" Ellie says, "What are you doing here?" Dominia says, "This is a vital mission ordered from Central. I already have Ramses' orders. The Hecht is not to be piloted by a common soldier. I will take the Hecht." Dominia says, "I didn't even need an escort, but this was also part of the plan. This'll be a good fight." Ellie says, "Wait, tell me what our target is. You should know." Dominia says, "That's restricted, but I guess I can tell you. The electric generator in the eastern sector of Kislev's Imperial capital. The target is a reactor left there by an ancient civilization." Ellie says, "That reactor, if you attack it, then Kislev will..." Dominia says, "Probably most of it will be destroyed. The rest will be uninhabitable for hundreds of years." Ellie says, "Why are you doing this?" Dominia says, "To purge, why else? You may know this already, Kislev has the gatekeeper. The original gate is controlled by those vulgar lambs. This land barrier was made by our predecessors. The lambs are trying to destroy the gate. Are you going to allow that?" Ellie says, "That may be so, but do we have the right to get involved?" Dominia says, "Does that bother you? Since when did you have a conscience? War, strife, betrayal, deceit are all that are on the lambs' minds. Surely you should know that by looking at the fools in this country. Just let them loose and see what they'd do. They would pillage and loot our world acting as if they owned it. Advanced knowledge or tools aren't necessary for common house pets. We must lead them where they belong." Ellie says, "You're originally a land dweller, so why?" Dominia says, "I was chosen by the commander. Don't look at me the same as those stupid lambs." Dominia says, "What? Yes, well, you've shirked the duty that was instilled in you since your Juggin days. Arguing with you is a waste of time." Dominia says, "I was a surface dweller myself, but I'm going to purge the lambs. I want you, the shepherds, able to see with your own eyes what I can do." Faye says, this is the champ's. Rue says, the room given to the champion, is it not to your satisfaction? Faye says, no, it's not that. What about Rico? Rue says, Rico, he's the ex-champion. Now you are the champion. Faye says, but what happened to him? Rue says, after the finals league, during the group league bouts, his gear went out of control. That out-of-control gear crashed into the Kaiser's box seat and was damaged. Nothing has been heard from the former champion, Ricardo, and no one has seen him since the incident. Rue says there are no battling competitions for a while, so you can rest up a bit. The collar has been removed. How about taking a walk around A Block, the civilian area? Rue continues, the southeast part of the Imperial capital is called A Block, or the ordinary civilian area. Rue says that they're going to take their leave. Rue says, anyway, this room is yours to use. Next door is your bedroom. Oh, and Faye, now you will be given the title of champion as well as special S-rank privileges. Congratulations on winning. We were able to take some very good data. One more thing, good news. Kaiser Sigmund would like to meet you. Please stop by the Central Administrative District. Rue finally says goodbye. Seitan says, you are now free in both name and reality, right? Hammer says, so what are you going to do now, bro? Leave Nortune? Seitan says, we're not yet finished. There's one thing left to do. Faye says, I know, it's Weltall, right? We can't just leave it here. We have to get it back somehow. Seitan says, it is best if we assume Weltall has been moved to a different dock. So I guess that is where you come in, Hammer. Hammer says, got it, Doc. I'll find out where your gear is. I'll bet my name as the Imperial Capital's #1 supplier on it. Faye says, okay then, let's work separately. I'll work by myself while you, Hammer, and Doc work together. Hammer says, bro, don't you trust me? I work better alone. Nothing against Seitan, but he'll only get in my way. And then Hammer leaves and says, leave it to me. Seitan says, we should make a move too. Oh ho ho. Where's my free shit? Already? The bartender says, Faye, wait a sec, Hammer just went, but he left you a message. He wants you to meet him at the Wildcat Bar in the civilian part of the city once you're done. I must leave. Guard says, this is the main town. D-block prisoners like you. Wait, you're the champ. Never mind, excuse me. Please go on through. Alright. This is the A-block place. Oh. I guess I don't need to go there yet. Let's see. A soldier says, this is the Kislev Central District. Oh wait, if it isn't the champ. The Kaiser's waiting. The soldier says, please come this way. Rico says, no one's around. I thought so. Security's been lightened to lure Faye. Rico says, I suppose knocking on the front door is out. Rico thinks he's gonna climb in through an air duct, but he's a gigantic demi-human. Whatever. This soldier tells us that this is the central district. The Kaiser's room is up the elevator and up the west wing stairs. Let's see if there's any items or anything fun. There's a dog, apparently. And some chickens, and a kitchen. And some hidden item over there. I thought that was a pretty good jump. Whatever. Oh, is that thing above my head or something? Oh boy. Ugh. Can I not jump on this? So close. Oh, I guess I gotta maneuver it more. Maybe that's how I do it. Haha, success. Please don't tell me to go down to the gear dock. Apparently they have motion sickness and don't want to ride that train. I'll let you have what's in the box if you don't tell anyone. Well, I took it before I talked to you, so bite me. I go up the elevator. 'Cause I don't know. 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 ' Sigmund says, who are you? I see, you are Faye. Welcome. Faye says, how do you know me? Sigmund says, excuse me, I'm the Kaiser of Kislev. Sigmund. This may sound sudden, but would you like to join forces? I need your assistance. Sigmund said, it's you, Rico. Rico says, not good, and runs away. I'll come by later. Sigmund says, mutant, and sends security after him. He says he wasn't with you, was he? Faye says, no. Rico says, down's not good. I'll hide over there. Rico says, the Kaiser's calling you. And the guards leave the post saying it's okay because apparently this door only opens for the Kaiser and his wife. But Rico walks right through, implying that he's related to them. Rico says, what's this room? The smell. Rico says he's seen this before. When was it? Mother, why does Jenny have a father but I don't? Says the little boy. Well, your father is, so that's why. Mother, you have to rest. Listen to me, your father's a great man. Someday you'll follow in his footsteps. The mom is coughing, and the child seems sad. The boy says he's different from other kids. My nails are long and look at my ears. The mother says, no, it's not like that. The kid says, Mio from across the road keeps saying I'm not human, and that when I get older I'll be a demi-human. I'm not human? Then you're not my mother? I don't want that. The mother says, oh God, please have mercy on this child. Get out, go away, you mutant child. The mom continues coughing. The child is sad still. The child is talking to a bed. He says, listen carefully from now on. Seems that the mom passed away. Rico wonders if that's him. Rico wonders why he's remembering this. Faye says, hey, are you in there? Open it up. What are you thinking, breaking into the Central District? This isn't good. Rico says, forget about it. Seems like an odd accessory choice to give a melee fighter who doesn't use any spells, but whatever. The Kaiser wonders how Rico got in that room. Rico says, I just came through the entrance. The guard says it won't open unless you have the correct DNA. Sigmund says, it's probably a malfunction. It doesn't matter. Arrest the intruder. The committee's after him for breaking the contract. Let them deal with him. They take Rico away. Rico says, well, I'll be seeing ya. Sigmund says, no, that can't possibly be. He further elaborates that Rico was suspected of assassinating him, and that the police are looking into the matter. The Kaiser says he has some sudden matters to attend to, and says that he's gonna leave, and he says, feel free to tour the district, and he says he's waiting for a response from Faye regarding joining him. Sigmund says goodbye. My. Received a penny. Yeah, screw that. Where's that elevator? There we go. Satan reminds us that we need to go talk to Hammer at that civilian place. Bar or whatever. Hammer says he knows where the gear is. Faye says, hold on a sec. Don't you think it's dangerous to talk about that in public? Hammer says, what's with you? Faye silences him. Satan says he'll explain later, and says to just move it. Hammer says, where are you guys going? Are you even listening? And starts following them. Faye thinks it should be safe there, and asks for Hammer to tell him where the gear is. Hammer says, as the doc predicted, your gear has been moved to another dispatchment dock. Satan says, where on Earth is Waltall? Hammer says, not on Earth, but under it. It's in an underground dock under D block. He says there's 2 routes that we can use to get there. The first one says we could use the battle arena, and Faye says there's no way we're gonna sneak in there. What's the other one? Hammer says the second way is a little dangerous as it involves the supply train tunnel. You have to get into the ducts and follow them right through till they lead to the docks. But I couldn't find out the ducts layout. Sorry, bro. Faye says, oh, that tunnel. Well, now that we have the bomb problem off our necks, we might be able to make a go of it. Satan says yes, but we are still left with not knowing the times that the trains pass by. Will a supply train pass at the time that is of any use to us? Faye says, not all of this has to be decided now. Let's take our time and plan it carefully. Faye says, Hammer, I'm sorry to put you out, but could you find out the days and times the supply trains operate? Hammer says he'll get right on it, and then leaves. Satan says, let's return to D block. Alrighty. Let's see. can't I move? Huh. Can I just leave through there? What is that, a weapons store? Oh, it's the same crap the other guy had. Who cares? Let's leave. Guess we're going to D block. Faye is stopped by 3 people. Faye says, "Who are you?" The battler says, "Don't be so cruel, we've been waiting for you." Satan says, "Waiting for us?" The battler says, "Please come with us." Faye says, "This isn't going to be another stupid baptism, is it?" They say, "Hey, wait a minute. We're not trying to pick a fight. Keep talking like that and there's bound to be a misunderstanding. Leave this to me." Satan says, "I assume you are not hostile." The Amazoness says, "Not here. Let's go somewhere else. Follow me." Satan says, "Seems we have no choice. Let's go." Faye says, "What do you want with us?" The Amazoness says, "Rico needs your help." Satan says, "Help the champ." Faye says, "Hang on, what do you mean?" The battler says, "You know what just happened? The special broadcast on the dorm's video by the committee. It said something like this. This evening, the former champion was found guilty of trying to assassinate the Kaiser, as well as breaking Imperial Code Section B. Thus, an execution will take place at the arena." Faye says, "I know he got caught and was arrested, but what's this about an attempted assassination?" The battler said, "Those committee members, the champ probably got in their way somehow." Satan says, "The battling committee?" And the Amazoness says, "The battling committee is made up mostly of people from Ethos. They used to have a lot of pull in our government, but under the current Kaiser, they don't have that same power. On top of that, these past few years, in order to strengthen the military, the Kaiser has started to interfere with the battling operated by the Ethos. The Kaiser probably got in the way of that operating smoothly, so they used the champ." "Why Rico?" says Faye. The Amazoness says, "Rico was originally born in this town, but because Sigmund whipped up anti-demi-human sentiment, Rico was chased out when he was young. So Rico hated the Kaiser, the capital, Nortune, and the whole Kislev Empire." Faye says that's why they went after him. The battler says, "In the past, the champ has had many chances to kill the Kaiser. That the earlier crash into the box seat was disguised as an accident. But that failed too. The committee, fearing being exposed, used Rico." The battler says, "The champ is being manipulated by the committee. Please help him." Hammer interrupts them and says, "Are you here? I've got the supply train times." Hammer wonders why he's talking with them, and Faye says, "Hold on a sec, Hammer, tell me about those trains." Hammer says, "Is it alright with all these outsiders?" Satan says, "It's alright, they're our friends." Hammer says, "Oh, really? Well, okay. The next one is tonight, if that's too soon." Hammer says, Faye says, "Hammer, did you say one will pass through tonight?" Hammer says, "There are trains passing through, but we need a thorough plan. Tonight's impossible." Faye says, "The situation has changed, so we have to move our plans up to tonight." Hammer says, "Are you serious?" Satan says, "Did you hear any interesting tidbits of information outside?" Hammer says, well, the dorms are in an uproar over the Master Rico thing. Satan says, do you know the details of where Rico is to be executed at the arena tonight? Hammer says, Master Rico is being executed, is that true? Faye says, didn't you say there was one more route? Huh? Oh yeah, you mean via the arena, right? You're not thinking of doing that, though. Faye says yes. Satan says, we can probably help the champion that way. Satan thinks it just may work. Hammer says, wait a minute. You don't intend to go bursting into the arena, do you? Faye says, either way we were going to escape via the arena, so it's on our way, right? Faye says, no problem, it's just one more thing to do on the way to getting my gear back. Satan says, leave the rest to us, and advises them to meet them at the arena. He says that they're going to leave Nortune, but if they think that you're involved, he doesn't know what they're going to do. The battler says, we're counting on you for champ's sake. The Amazoness says that she apologizes for asking them this. And the battler gives me 2,000 Gs. Faye says, Hammer, hide yourself somewhere. When we get into the arena, I'm just gonna go wild in my gear. We'll play it by ear from there to escape. And then he says, got it, Hammer? Hammer says, got it. Faye says there's some time until the train passes by. Satan says, take a nap. Let's see. Alrighty, I think I'm gonna call it quits right here.